Jacob is 14 years old now and he's number 5. We have 5 children, 2 girls and 3 boys. Jake loves to go to the beach. In the summer, of course, it's probably a daily practice that we go down there. And his sister, of course, loves going down there with him and swimming. When Jacob was born, Mark and I really thought about what we wanted for Jacob. We were told lots of things about what Jacob would probably do. And we thought that he was, at the time, a baby, he would be a toddler, he would go to school, do all the things that our other 4 children had done. Come on guys, come and eat. But we wanted all of that time to be used so that he would be able to be out in the community and hopefully get employment and that people would know him, and that would in itself be a protection for him. So that was our vision, that he would just do ordinary things with his family and his friends and people that knew him. Jacob's experience at primary school was really positive towards probably the last 4 years that Jacob was there. The first 3 years were quite hard because the teachers found it difficult to get their mindset over to the fact that it was just a different learning style, to look past the disability and see the child. And once they started seeing the child, then they started to see the possibilities. And so we had lots of engagement then, and we had people really coming into the picture and part of the team then, because we had a learning support team. So the ones that were in that learning support team started to think outside the box and started to think about, well, how can we adapt the curriculum? What resources do we need? And so that was really exciting then, because we knew then that they were going to start engaging Jacob as a class member, that he was going to be part of that. And we know that I think grade 5 and grade 6, they did do separate science, so they'd come out of the classroom and into the playground, and they did lots of outdoor things, doing experiments. And also too, we found that using a communication book was fantastic. What they used to do was take photos of Jacob, so we knew what was happening in the day, and then we could reinforce that. When Jacob came home, we'd look in the book and we'd see the photos. So they didn't have to write us a note, copious notes. The photos told us exactly what Jacob was doing, and so that was really good, and that was the suggestion from the school. Transition to high school was something that we knew was going to be something that Jacob really needed practice at. So timing was the most important thing. So Mark and I, when we went to our meetings, the ILP meetings, I think they were called then, IEP, in grade 4, right at the end, we flagged it that we wanted to talk about and have it part of our review meetings in grade 5 about what we were going to do for transition, how long that transition was going to be, who would actually go to the high school with Jacob, and also what he was going to do when he went to the high school. So that was something that was really good, because it was written into his IEPs, which meant someone had to be responsible for making that happen. So we all had to sign off on it, and that person then was responsible. And that proved to be absolutely, for Jacob, a wonderful thing, because he knew the high school so well, it was almost like his second home. So he went into classrooms, he met all kinds of different teachers, people that were going to be with him. So that was really, really crucial to Jacob when he actually went to high school in the February. He walked in there like he was home. Jacob's days that he goes to school starts with me coming in and getting him organised.
I'm going to beat you. Look fair. But hurry. Are you going to play handball today?
Yeah.
When he's eaten his breakfast, he usually does that with his sister. We want him to be able to be doing something as far as contributing to the household chores, so his job is to unload the dishwasher.
There.
Usually Jacob has the two girls, so Michaela and his cousin Lucy.
Jakey, this way.
She lives 4 doors up, so they walk down together to the school. So eventually Jacob will be doing that walk on his own. So we're really grooming him to be able to know where to go, how to cross safely, because we have a road to cross, it's quite busy. And also the routine of the other kids, knowing that that's what Jacob does at that time in the morning, and to be aware that he perhaps would be on his own at that time. When we went to high school, we wanted to just give a snapshot of Jacob and how the disability that he has impacts on his learning style and his learning ability. And so we needed to tell them a little bit about the disability itself, because we know that Jacob sometimes is sleep deprived because of his health issues, and that makes it very difficult in the day for him to keep going. He peters out towards the end. So we put all those things in a portfolio. So we just did 1 page, just very to the point. We didn't labour over it. And then we put pictures in there of him interacting with his peers at the school, his classmates, doing different things, being in different classes, and out in the schoolyard, all the games that he liked to do, all his likes and dislikes. And so that was a really good introduction to them to actually get to know Jacob without actually meeting him. Because we know that at high school there's a number of teachers who are involved, whereas in primary school it's only 1 or 2 at the most. So we didn't really have much chance of actually meeting all of the teachers, but the book was good to be able to introduce Jacob. And the other thing we actually did too was we made 2 A4 sheets that said about me at home and about me at school. And it just had small bullet point things about even foods that he liked, movies he liked, music he liked, so that if someone passed Jacob and just said, "Hi Jacob, what did you do on the weekend?" or if they knew that he loved going to the beach, he liked different kinds of music, they could actually talk to him about that music, and he didn't necessarily have to even talk back, but there was conversation going on. Keeping a positive relationship with the school, for us, we've just made sure that we are available to actually be accessed for any questions that they have. So they have our phone numbers. If they want to meet me at the school or my husband at the school, we're happy to do that at any time. So we've made that quite clear to them that we are accessible.
How do you want to take the PE theory lessons? Did you want Jacob to be still in those, or would you like to keep them?
Also, I have quite a relationship with the student learning support officer that supports Jacob in the classroom.
And what the other kids think? They think it was
Oh,
good?
they thought it was fantastic.
It's just a matter of talking to the parents to be able to see exactly what is going on in his life and how it relates to him at school. I'm a school learning support officer at Nambucca Heads High School, and pretty much my role is to support the learning needs of every student in the school and assist the teacher in delivering class lessons. And you're going to do 10 minutes of maths games on the app? Yeah. Yep, okay. Working out the learning goals for Jacob has been an interesting path, to say the least, because the learning outcomes that are in the syllabus, they are very general for the life skills outcomes, but they can be modified so relevantly to the classroom situation. When the kids are listening to the teacher speaking at the beginning of the lesson, explaining what's going on for the day, he is there listening as well. Then he will complete his worksheets and he will go through them at his own pace. Good work. Then we'll come back, go through them, and then we will use the iPad to do an app related to whatever that task might have been. That gives us the opportunity for me to be able to go around to the other kids in that classroom with the teacher and make sure that they all are understanding as well. And it also gives Jacob a bit of time to think, okay, this is sort of the same thing. He can relate it back to what has been said in the room. So he's able to sit there, work through it at his own time and go at a pace that really does work for him, that he can repeat and recognise what he's done and work out a way to learn from what he has done. So it gets him a sense of accomplishment every time he gets that gold star that appears up on the screen.
Yeah, good work, Jacob. Yeah. And now you have to trace around the black lines of the foot. Having someone with a disability in the class makes me think more about differentiating the work, because it puts it right there in front of you. We can't really push it to the back of your mind as you can in some other classes when you're really busy. But having Jacob in the class, it helps me differentiate the work even for all the other students that we're doing. So he's got to do the life skills part of what we're doing at the moment, which is really good because it helps me just know the lower end and the higher end and where you've got to go in between. I've tried a few differentiated topics with other classes and things, and through learning through kinesthetic and visual and auditory and everything, and having all these different exercises on the same thing but catering for the range of students in the class. Because even now there's a lot of students in the class and they may not have like Jacob's disability, but they've got ADHD or autism, and there's a huge range of people and different learning styles now. So I think you've got to cater for all of them.
The subject teachers cater to Jacob with his abilities, and I know that they meet regularly with our learning and support teacher in order to differentiate the curriculum into the classroom lessons.
Well, I guess to having your set rules and expectations.
My role in the school as learning support teacher is working with the parents and the students and the teachers, and just making sure that what we do at school is meeting the needs of the student. So my role with Jacob specifically is pretty much along those lines. We have regular meetings with Mark and Annette, and we've had 4 so far this year, and it's really good because we do have that constant contact with the parents, so it just makes for a really good working relationship with the school and the family, and Jacob's quite happy here at school. So we have those meetings, we set down goals, and those goals will generally be adjusted over the year, and the teachers can go through and say, yes, he's achieved those or he's achieved them with assistance, and then that's put back into the report, and it's virtually the same as what all of our other students get, except they'll have a different set of outcomes that they'll be reporting against.
We already aim to include all students in the drama class. There's such a diverse range of activities available within drama. So on the one hand there may be just a small acting role or a small stick gluing a bit of paper on to make a prop, and on the other extreme there is a way even those very capable, gifted students have got a role.
It's
an interesting experience having Jacob in the class because he's adding a different dynamic. Quite often he adds a lot of energy and humour, and at the same time sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge for the others to incorporate him in their group, but they usually rise to that challenge, and that peer learning is really important.
I'm Georgie boy. I'm Georgie boy.
That's it. The one-on-one session started as a down period for Jacob, just to give him a bit of time out, so we designated times by the arrangement of the timetable that he might need to have a break. As it went on, it seemed like Jacob didn't need as much of a break, and so we started to use those more as a one-on-one stage with Jacob, where he can go over some vocab, reinforce what we've been doing in the other classrooms, and make fun out of it. So using the vocabulary that he needs for those subjects into a board game. All right. And can you click on internet? Yep.
Drumming ready. Ready, Jacob? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Music's a really hard subject to be able to do, and I differentiate it for every kid in the class, so Jacob just slots in. He does everything that the other kids do. He's obviously approaching it in a different way. So for example, we've been doing piano and guitar in class in Year 8, and his teacher's a Brock. helps him at the piano and a little bit on guitar as well. Jacob prefers the piano. He can do exactly what the other kids are doing, probably even to a point better than a lot of kids because he's just focused.
He is in an environment that sometimes is a bit different than what he was in from, say, primary school. And now that he's come in here, he's had to work out how does he belong with us, and he has. He can see it every time anyone helps him or talks to him. He can just walk up to them and he'll be very responsive back to them.
He's really funny sometimes. He just likes to muck around. He's good.
I reckon it makes a star in their day because it makes me smile when I see him, when he's happy and everything.
I first met him when I was sitting over in my first group, and he used to come sit there, and he always made me laugh. And he's been in my maths class since the beginning of this year. He's real funny.
When he started high school, everyone knew him already because he was just involved with everyone. Like, he just went around and everyone knows him. He's the most popular kid in school, I'd say. Definitely.
People acknowledge that Jacob has got a disability, but people see through that, and consequently he's been accepted entirely into being one of the Nambucca Heads High School community members. Inclusive education, I think, fits well into public education, and we as a public school, we look after all students, and we take all students, and we try and give them the best possible academic, social outcomes as possible before they leave us at the year in which they decide to go, whether that's year 10, year 11 or year 12.
It's been our experience after having 5 children that we realise that as they go through their life is cut up into small bits. So they go to preschool, they go to kindy, and then they go to primary school, and then they go to high school, and then they go out into the world. So people have them for a period of time, so chunks of their life, and it's like your life is in pieces. And we didn't want that with Jake. We just didn't want him moving from one bit to the next bit. We needed a common thread for Jacob. And so that's what our vision has been, a common thread, the touchstone that we needed to go back to again and again to make sure that it wasn't a disjointed life, but it was one that just continuously flowed with the same sort of learning opportunities, the same sort of normal things that all kids go through. And so that's something that we really would encourage, that people think about their child's life holistically as a whole, going beyond school, because school is only just one part of their whole life. But it certainly sets them up for having a good life after they leave school.